We have some Overwatch hot takes. Here we go. First one of the week. Hot take: Overwatch is the best FPS to start and improve with. Overwatch has so much depth to it and simplicity that it can be a really good starting point for anyone at any skill point to pick up and improve your usage of map knowledge, awareness, natural cover, strafing, counter-strafing, aiming, and adjusting quickly to different hitboxes, crit zones, teamwork, and even learn the difference between meaningful and meaningless kills. The ability to adapt and assess what your team or yourself needs, in my opinion, is a much more valuable skill than raw aim and is something that isn't stored in the balls, a random server, but instead a skill that is transferable to different games within the same genre. I'm probably biased, but I don't think this is a hot take, and the reason why I say that is that Overwatch's hero pool and hero roster has a bunch of heroes that are accessible without having raw aim. You have heroes like Mercy, like Moira, like Reinhardt, where you can express your skill in a first-person tactical shooter style, which can teach you other aspects of the genre, which can be transferred to other games later on. Like you said, like map knowledge and understanding macro and taking space. Like not all games will have that kind of style, like a Rein to take space, but like in general, understanding the push and pull, the tug, the ebb and flow of a game state. I agree. And when, this is a little unrelated, but when people say they need to rework Mercy or rework these low skill floor heroes because they're not good in high ranks, I always disagree with that take, because I think it's very important for games to have, or a game like this specifically, to have heroes like this with different entry points for different styles of players. Hot take: 2-1-2 was way more fun than the 1-2-2. Better team play and how 5v5 should have been this entire time. 2 tanks? Certainly a hot take, because evidently playing an extra, like finding more tank players is always harder than finding more DPS players. It may be more fun for you, but logistically speaking, is that going to hold true? I mean, if 2-1-2 is objectively more fun for more players and more people would naturally queue tank, and the queuing thing wouldn't be a problem. But I think the recent Kingmaker playtest showed us that 2-1-2 could work, and I did play it a little bit, and I did enjoy the 2-1-2. I didn't mind it at all. It just wasn't a balanced mode overall, but I think like two tanks where one of the tanks kind of plays like an off tank style. They're basically a pseudo DPS, and in a way they can complement each other a bit more. I'd kind of be down, but the fact that there's only one DPS slot means the DPS players will be waiting even longer, because only one slot gets filled each game while it has to always search for 2. So it's more of a logistical problem rather than like a fun versus boring problem and a balance problem. But I did enjoy the 2-1-2, so I don't think this is a hot take. Hot take: Overwatch 2 has forgotten how to make an archetype hero that is simple, like a Soldier 76, Rein, and Zen. Haven't needed more abilities to stay somewhat relevant in the game. Why can't we have new heroes who work with less in their kit? Does everything need to be JQ or Juno level complicated to be on the safe side of strong? Context: I'm only talking about the number of abilities or interactions the hero has, like in a vis Bastion with 2 buttons. No, they haven't forgotten. Illari was probably the most recent example I can think of. I remember when seeing her kit and when I did the Mythbusters and all that content for her, all the comments were like, this hero is so simple, that's so boring. And I'm like, I mean, obviously you have your opinion, your take on the internet, but the majority of the people on the internet feel like kits need to be complicated and more complex and always have the bar pushed up. But I agree with you. I don't think this is a hot take. Less about them forgetting to, but I think they just responded to like how the community responded to a simple hero. Illari's not that popular, but I think she's fine fundamentally for her ability and how she flows. I think she's kind of fun personally, and it shows that the community doesn't play or enjoy heroes despite them being very good if they have a very simple kit. So I think they tend to release obviously more heroes with more interactions because it allows for more creativity with the heroes. I think Hazard is a recent example of a hero that has so much creativity you can do with a design that can be used offensively and defensively, whereas Illari is a very simple click, put pylon down and click enemies. So evidently they didn't forget, but it just goes to show that even when Illari had her 58% win rate or something in that season, nobody really played her regardless, but people will always gravitate towards the more fun and complicated heroes. Well, actually, I guess when I look at this, it's not so much true. Reinhardt is an exception. He's not really a hard kit, but he's so unique in a way, and he's like the only one in the field that can do that. But I guess the point and click archetype of Soldier Illari doesn't appeal to a wide cast of players. They'll start out with Soldier or whatever, but they'll usually gravitate, because you can play that in other games, the point and click. But then Overwatch gives that unique experience of playing the shield hero and playing like a unique ability thing. So Yeah. Lol, Hanzo was supposed to be a tank buster, not a DPS buster. Okay, so this was a guy in my chat that was very adamant that Hawkeye in Marvel Rivals is better than Hanzo, like design-wise and how it's supposed to be. But if anybody here has played Marvel Rivals, Hawkeye does too much, and he's always one of the top 2 banned in Diamond Plus because his headshots do 375. Most heroes in that game have like 250 to 300 health. He one-shots almost everything. And then tanks die in like, what, 2 headshots, which is kind of crazy. But then the counter argument was that Hanzo was supposed to be that, but he was supposed to be a tank buster, not a DPS buster. But I'm like, bro, Hanzo was the opposite. Before storm arrows, he's designed to be a DPS buster. He's designed to kill 200 HP heroes, 250 HP heroes, not a tank buster. The storm arrows definitely can help busting tanks, but like even storm arrows where it used to be 70 base damage, you used to be able to like 1 headshot body shot or like 3 body shot kill stuff. Hanzo's supposed to be sniping other squishies for the most part. So yeah, that was the take. But yeah, that's certainly a hot take. Supposed to be versus what his strength is currently in his current state is a different statement altogether. Where if he no longer has that one shot, which I can't remember if Hanzo's at 125 right now. Did they buff it? 125 per arrow? No, I think it might be 120 per arrow right now. So he doesn't one shot the 250 HP heroes. So then in a lot of cases, you are better off like busting on the one tank. Wait, what? My hot take is why people are still playing Soldier 76. He's outclassed by every hero in the game. He doesn't have a unique ability or way to play. He's so easy to counter. Why would I play Soldier instead of Sojourn? People still play Soldier because he is very simple and easy to pick up and get like a decent baseline value. But I will agree that he does get outclassed, at least in the higher ranks. But honestly, if you're just like an average casual player, like he's fine. Like, don't even worry about stuff like that. But in high elos, unless you're really good at Soldier, he definitely got pushed down a lot ever since Season 9, where all the HP pools went from 200 to 250 / 300 for like Mei, Bastion, whatever. And then when armor got buffed from 5 instance of damage reduction to 10, the way armor works in this game is that it subtracts 10 off your base damage up until its halfway point, then it just reduces it by half. So if you do 25 damage per bullet, minus 10 would make it 15 per bullet. But if you do like 17 damage per bullet, now you're under the 20, the double threshold, so you lose it by half. So it goes down to like what, 8.5 per bullet. Regardless, don't worry about the numbers, but when armor was buffed to 10 reduction per hit, Soldier's damage was like 19 per bullet, which is in that spot where literally all his shots were basically reduced by half. And that is just rough. It was absolutely rough, especially when Devo is running the lobbies and stuff too. So Soldier fell behind. All the HP pools went up in Season 9, which means his like burst damage went down because his helix and his shots don't kill as often because everybody has more HP. But yeah, he's the lower end of the hit scans if you were to ask a high elo player, but you know, it's fine if you're just learning the game. Hot take, Widow is easily the most broken by concept hero, and it's not even close. She's the only hero in the game who simply has to exist and stand down a sightline and then is the #1 priority of any game, even if they don't hit their shots. I mean, yeah, but it's a sniper. A lot of snipers should be a high priority. It's just unfortunate with the modern day Overwatch 2 and how the game has evolved. There's less and less heroes that can deal with the Widow and close the gap and close the distance to deal with the sniper, therefore making her more problematic in the last 2 years than ever before. Overwatch 1, like dominant Widow players were like very annoying, but I guess more manageable because you had the extra player and the extra tank and the extra option to like control and deny them. And even if the Widow gets the pick in a 6v6, it's like 16% of your team if she kills one. But in Overwatch 2, in a 5v5, if you kill a person, that's 20% of your team. So each pick is inherently more valuable, right? But we get this question all the time, or this take all the time every week with Widowmaker. And again, the compromise is probably like sniper glint or like a scope glint, excuse me. So when you aim down, there's a line, there's a sound or something to indicate that she's aiming down at you to add more counterability without like adding a 6th player. Like we have in Overwatch 1. But yeah, no, I sort of agree with the take. Hot take, I think Juno is one of the most difficult supports to play. I've been playing Juno the second she came out, and I can say I mastered her whole kit. Her torpedoes are nice for charging ult. Her flight is good mobility. Her ring is really strong. Her ult is good for aggressive fights, but her primary fire is where I fell off. I hate that it's so hard to land. I want to learn her, and I can't because of primary fire, and I'm losing my games just because I'm not healing enough, and my team always dies. Is there any tips to improve on her primary fire? I'm just going to back up. Unfortunately, I can't say that you've mastered her whole kit if you can't master her primary fire, so you're not quite there yet. But the biggest tip for healing output right now is that they added or they nerfed the fall off damage by a lot, which means you have to play within, what is it right now? Okay, fall off range for Juno right now kicks in at 20 meters. That's what it got nerfed to. So you have to play within 20 meters or else both your damage and your healing starts tapering down and down and down. So your healing output is probably really low because you're playing way too far away and way too safe beyond. It starts at 20 meters and then at 35 meters, all your bullets deal half. So your healing output is literally like nothing beyond 35-meter distance. How can you tell 35-meter distance? Ping your teammate. Just ping on the ground and there's a distance indicator to kind of give you a feel for it. Anybody who's played the game for a long time can kind of get an idea of what 20, 30 meters feels like. Other examples maybe like Roadhog hook distance. Intuitively, a lot of veteran players know Roadhog's hook distance. That's 20 meters. That's when Juno's fall off is. Maybe that example will help you visualize it in your head a little bit more. So always play within a Roadhog hook range. Well, not always. Sometimes you have to play a little safer, but that's the effective range to get your primary fire better. That's it. That's the tip part. But to go back to the take of whether she's the most difficult support, one of them, I will say she is a lot more intricate than the others. She doesn't have like an easy like immortality field or Suzu or anything like that. She has a bit of finesse to it, and she also has a low HP pool at 225, which is a pretty fair compromise. So honestly, out of the entire selection of the roster, she's definitely up there as one of the more difficult ones. The most difficult? I don't think so. I think that belongs to maybe KarQ at the highest level, because evidently KarQ has a terrible win rate at low ranks because like she's very hard to play and master to be effective. Like it's easy to say, yeah, just click the ground and Suzu, but to really master her aggressive and safer playstyle, hitting all your kunais to be effective, being consistent with your Ofudas and all that kind of stuff, and the wall climb and movements, I think she is probably the hardest, but that's just me. Hot take, you are wrong, KarQ. As a new player, I want LFG so bad, and no one IRL is as obsessed with the game as me. Solo queuing is so bad in this game, and anytime someone picks me up, they leave as soon as we get a loss. Oh, so this was a take relevant to when somebody asked for the LFG system back. Like, it's not a bad thing to have, but like there's better places to find a community and find friends to play with, to LFG with. It's much easier to like go to like a specific community to find like-minded people like you with similar goals, because the LFG system is kind of just a random drop in the bucket. I think you can like write a description of the kind of player you're LFGing, but like if nobody finds somebody in a few minutes, they just leave the thing and then they just queue on their own. And I think like the reason why I said LFG wasn't good is because like it's kind of flawed in a way, like baked into the game. It's always like low quality. I'm sure there's going to be outliers where you have a good time with the person you find, but my point is you're better off finding a community specifically outside of the game, on Discord, on forums, or wherever that you find agreeable people with the playstyle and the similar goals and stuff like that. That's all. And then like Blizzard's response to removing the LFG is because they had to spend extra resources on a system that was barely getting used, where their resources could be better allocated to other aspects of their business and the game development. Hot take, Juno is not the healthy high skill hero the community praises her as. Oh, that's opposite of what the other person said. The best way to get value on Juno is to heal bot and farm for her quick building ultimate that guarantees a team fight win. The boring sustained metas, Mauga, Diva, Orisa, we've been seeing in pro play recently are a result of Juno's one-dimensional design, not tank balance. Part of this is right, but part of this I disagree with. In the current state that she's in and what plays well with the brawl, like the Orisa, Mauga, the Diva was mostly the speed ring thing that was just an outlier when that was just way too strong. And then with Orisa, Mauga being really complementary to her kit where it's super easy, then yeah, like she's pretty simple. You farm for your ultimate and win off that button because it's overtuned. I wouldn't say her design's one-dimensional. I think she has a pretty fun kit blended all together. It's just when parts of her kit are too specifically overtuned and are overwhelmingly good, that's when it becomes a little bit problematic. And she's been nerfed like 5 straight times now, and I think the other supports have been buffed, which indirectly bumps her down a little bit more. And they have nerfed the ultimate, like in the pro play example you're listing, Juno's ultimate was still 100 HP per second, and it's got nerfed to 85, and it builds 10% slower now, which is a couple knobs they've turned. Where I played Juno recently, and I do feel like I don't build my ultimate as quick as I used to, which is important, right? Some fights I'm like 85% of the way there where I would have built it normally otherwise, and I'm like, dude, we can't win this because their KarQ built it faster than me, and that's their win button. There's the same issue with KarQ with Kitsune being too strong on release. It used to be like 3x cooldown, more attack speed. It built faster because your Ofudas used to like fire faster with recovery. They just have to continue nerfing that, and they have a little bit, and it's a bit more manageable now. Her ultimate is very good, and the best way to get good baseline safe value is the playstyle you're listing, heal bot and stuff. But like if people are forcing Juno on non-brawl comps, then you do have to play a little bit differently. So I think she's healthy, but like you just need to tune the the outlier abilities a bit more. Hot take, the average player ults for the aesthetic of the kill, not to win the game. Picture it. Your Genji just did a 2K, the enemy team is in a 3v5, but he decides to blade into the last 3 for the beauty of the kill streak. That's cool, but he just wastes an ult. I see too many times, but it's never called out because those are cool moves. Yeah, sometimes like your bloodlust lights up and then, you know, you get 2 and you want to finish off the 5 piece. I think in those cases, you kind of just have to let them have it. You know what I mean? Maybe in high pro play competitive, obviously they won't do it. And in some comp matches, but our comp matches, they're serious, but not that serious. And like, you know, there's no money on the line like a pro match where if a Genji throws a wasted economical blade for the 5K versus just taking the 2 and walking away, that can be criticized. But in your average play, I mean, you're not wrong. People will do it for the aesthetic of the kill. Yeah, I don't disagree with it. It's not a hot take. All right, last one. Not my hot take, but Night Before Christmas said, Ryan doesn't need a speed. Can we get a Mercy? I said I wanted a Mercy instead of Juno. Okay, so the take here was that when they were playing ranked, he was playing Reinhardt, and he said he doesn't need the speed boost. Can we get a Mercy instead of Juno? But why though? Doesn't Juno just complements Reinhardt so much better than Mercy? Mercy's not really supposed to fly with Ryan at all. If Mercy's flying within beam range of the Ryan, she might die because she's like flying way too close instead of pocketing like a DPS or watching the other support. Like Juno would just complement you so much better. So it's certainly a take to say you would prefer a Mercy on your team over a Juno. Is it because you want the Mercy to bail you out of a terrible charge and then you die? What's to say that your Mercy can fly in and res you safely because you inted? That's it for the hot takes this week. Thanks for listening to me yap, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.